Look, my question is to the Minister for the Arts. How much money has been given to the museum this year by private donors? What action is the Minister taking to restore philanthropic giving levels and the confidence of the museum's major donors in the institution?
The Minister for the Arts.
I wouldn't have any figures off the top of my head, and I'm not sure the museum would for this financial year, given we're in week 8 of this financial year. I'm sure I can take it on notice and provide what information is available. Obviously, the 24-25 financial accounts are not yet done, as we're only partway through the year, but I'll take that on notice and come back to the member with any information that I can attain.
The member for Moriata.
Thank you, sir. My question is to the Minister for the Arts. Do the Chair of the South Australian Museum Board, the Director of the Museum and the Minister herself understand the contribution scientists make to the museum? And with your leave, sir, and that of the House, I'll explain.
Leave is sought. Is leave granted?
Thank you. On Monday, the Statutory Authorities Review Committee heard evidence from Dr Catherine Kemper and Mrs Mary Lou Simpson, specifically that they do not.
The Minister for the Arts.
In short, yes, I certainly do. I can't answer for the others, but Dr Gamester is eminently qualified, and Mr Kim Cheetah also has had a long association with the museum and is very well aware of the issues and the importance of research, so yes.
The member for Moriata.
So my question is to the Premier. Will the Premier finally draw a line through the proposed restructure to the staffing, collections and galleries of the South Australian Museum, as requested by more than 10,000 South Australians who signed the petition tabled in the House today?
The Premier.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. As the Minister for Arts has been indicating throughout the Deputy Leader of the Opposition's questions, the government will be releasing the outcome of the review. It's been a comprehensive effort. There have been a number of people who have been able to contribute to that exercise. It has been well led. We've made sure we've had experts, including the state's chief scientist and then a well-regarded museum director from the Queensland Museum, along with the CEO of the Department of DPC. The Minister and I are looking forward to the receipt of that report in the not too distant future. I should make mention that there have been a number of people who have represented the group of, I think, concerned citizens around the original proposition that was being put forward by the Museum Board. I can say at this point, from the briefings that we've had as the review has been ongoing, that the original proposition that was being pursued by the Board was not satisfactory, that there was a very underwhelming effort on behalf of the museum's management to engage with people who have a really legitimate and genuine interest in the museum. So there is clearly work to be done. We look forward to the outcome of that review. I want to thank people who have contributed to that review. This government's objective is to make sure that the museum remains a strong institution in this state, that its outstanding collection is able to be preserved and put on display, that we want to make sure that the science that is sat behind, science and research that is well regarded around the country at the museum is able to be preserved. But at the same time, we do acknowledge that there is a need to modernise elements of the museum. I don't mind saying, I think I've mentioned in this place before when the Deputy Leader of the Opposition's asked questions about it. My kids go to the museum every school holidays, it feels like. I myself went there a few weeks ago to have a look, and I went there with the kids, and they know the place far better than I do. But it did strike me that there are parts of the museum that feel like they need a bit of a freshen up. There are parts of the museum that, the parts that are public facing, because so much of what the museum does isn't public facing, but there are parts of what is public facing feels like it hasn't changed since I was a kid. Now, part of that engenders nostalgia, and who doesn't love the lion that wags the tail? But it also is true, we don't want the museum to end up being a museum of a museum. So there is a balance that needs to be achieved here. I think rather thoughtfully, those people who are, if I characterise them as concerned citizens about the proposed changes, I think they acknowledge that there's need for effort in the museum going forward. So that's where there is work to be done, and we keenly await the outcome of the review.
The member